welcome. My name is Luann Pygott, and I'm going to read you another story tonight. This is a relatively new book that I have. I've probably had it 5 years or so, but it's got some old stories in it. It is called The Treasury of Fairy Tales. And today, since it's close to Easter, and I did this yesterday, and I have several of these through Easter, I'm going to be reading you stories about bunny rabbits. And today I'm reading you the one called The Velveteen Rabbit. And here is our picture of the Velveteen Rabbit. One Christmas morning, a boy named John found a velveteen rabbit in his stocking. John loved the rabbit at once. He hugged him close, rubbed his brown and white fur, and felt his cuddly softness. Then John set the rabbit on his toy shelf. The Velveteen Rabbit was surprised at all the company he had in the nursery. There were wooden lion on wheels, a troop of metal toy soldiers, mechanical boats, a family of clowns, and a large, worn rocking horse. But he was still lonely because the other toys paid him no attention. Only the rocking horse was kind to the Velveteen Rabbit. He talked gently to him every day and seemed to be very wise. "You seem so real," the rabbit told the horse one day. "John loves you so much. He hugs you and rides you and seems so happy." "I am very nearly real," said the horse carefully. "You can be real too, if John loves you enough, when he has loved you so much that patches of your fur are worn off, and you have become faded and shabby, then you may be real too." The Velveteen Rabbit did not like the idea of being shabby, but he did want to be real. John seemed to have forgotten the Velveteen Rabbit, but every day he rode the horse. He hugged and petted and loved him until the horse was real and jumped out the nursery window. One night, John was restless and couldn't go to sleep. He kept begging his mother for one more story. Finally, she picked up the Velveteen Rabbit from the shelf and said, "Here, take your toy. He will help you sleep." John hugged the soft rabbit close and fell asleep. After that, the Velveteen Rabbit always slept in the warm bed with John, and he was no longer lonely. Sometimes John squeezed him so tightly the rabbit could hardly breathe. John talked to him and made him tunnels under the covers like burrows that real rabbits lived in. The Velveteen Rabbit liked that, and he wondered if he would ever become real. Time passed, and the rabbit did not notice how his beautiful velveteen fur had become worn in spots. His tail was loose, and all the pink was worn off his nose where John had kissed him. Spring came, then summer. John took the rabbit outside to play in the grass and the sandbox. The sand made the rabbit's fur more drab and shabby than ever. Once the boy forgot and left the Velveteen Rabbit under the zinnia row in the garden. His father had to search the garden with his flashlight until he found the rabbit because John couldn't go to sleep without him. My, said his father, "such a fuss over a toy." John clasped the warm rabbit tightly. "He isn't a toy," he said. "He's real." The Velveteen Rabbit heard this, and he snuggled close to John with joy in his heart. One morning, John was feeling ill. When the Velveteen Rabbit lay close to him, he could feel how hot the boy's skin was. John talked in his sleep, and strange people came and went in the nursery. The Velveteen Rabbit crept into the burrows of the bedding and stayed hidden but close to John. He knew John needed him now. It was a long, sad time. John was too ill to play with the Velveteen Rabbit, but the shabby little toy remembered all their happy times together and lay close by. Finally, the fever went away. John sat up in bed and cuddled the Velveteen Rabbit once again. His mother and father came into the room with a strange man they called the doctor. "He can get up now," said the doctor, "and you should clean and spray the room for germs." The doctor saw the Velveteen Rabbit by the pillow. "And get rid of that stuffed animal," he ordered. "It's a mass of germs. Get John a new one." The Velveteen Rabbit could not believe what he heard. He was real. The boy had said so, but still it happened. The Velveteen Rabbit was picked up, carried out, and tossed onto the rubbish heap with old picture books and broken toys. The Velveteen Rabbit was frightened and cold. Did John know he was here? He tried to call out, but he didn't know how. He remembered once in the nursery when a toy soldier had rusted until his head fell off. John's mother had carried the soldier away. Had she brought him here to the trash heap? The Velveteen Rabbit looked all around and discovered what remained of the toy soldier. Well, at least he had not disappeared altogether. He lay still and shivered a little. A big tear rolled down his cheek, off his chin, and into the grass at the edge of the rubbish heap. Suddenly, the tear glowed. The Velveteen Rabbit watched it as a light began to glow all around the tear. Then a lovely fairy stood in the center of the light. "Little Rabbit," she said, "I am the nursery fairy. I have come to make you real." "But I already am real," whispered the rabbit. "You were real to John because he loved you so much," said the fairy. "Now, because you have been so kind to the boy and because you have wept, I will make you truly real." The fairy lifted the shabby, worn rabbit in her arms and flew into the forest. There she kissed him and set him down on a grassy knoll. The Velveteen Rabbit saw a ring of real rabbits staring at him. Then they began to dance around him, and wonder of wonders, the Velveteen Rabbit moved on real legs with real paws, and he wrinkled his real pink nose. Winter passed and spring. One summer day, John was again playing in a sandbox when a small brown and white rabbit crept out of the forest and stood quite still. For what seemed a long time, the rabbit watched the boy who had helped him become real. He felt both happy and sad. Then the rabbit turned on his hind legs and hopped back into the forest to enjoy his new life. And that's the end of our story, The Velveteen Rabbit. I hope you enjoyed this, and join me again tomorrow for another story while I'll read another story about some rabbits. And Easter is only 2 days away. Have a good evening. Bye.